Hi guys, it's Jake here at Canadian Cutting Edge, and today, Sunday, we're looking at a knife by Sanrenmu, the 7048. Well, it's actually a multi-tool. We took a look at a multi-tool somewhat similar to this by Sanrenmu just a few weeks ago. This guy, similarities, right? Pretty good. This was the 6050 7048. You can see some size differences. Well, let's turn this around here. Make it more similar. There you go. Pivots are lined up, so you can see some size differences. Today's knife is longer in every way. And you've got a nice sort of mirror finish on this guy. And the other one had just a satin finish everywhere. A lot of similarities, a couple little differences. And size being one of the big ones, and weight. Believe it or not, today's knife is lighter by a good margin from this knife. So if you're interested at all in this knife, and I hope you are, stick around for the full review. Sanrenmu makes all sorts of knives. And as I showed you at the intro, I like this little guy that I reviewed, I think it was July 1st. I'll put a link to this video at the bottom of the description. No, I'll put a link to the video up here in the corner right now, so you can see the video for this guy. July 1st it was, but if you missed it, go ahead and watch it. This is a very similar knife with a few less features. Today's knife, the 7048, does not have the light. Here it is. It doesn't have this LED light, does not have the glass breaker, and does not have these wire cutters. Other than that, it's a very, very similar knife, and it's just a bit smaller, but it's also heavier because of this big, thick, well, it's not that thick, but it's got a thick chunk of steel to hold this whole knife together, and that's a good thing, but I would venture to say this guy's pretty much the same strength. Of course, it's a little bit less because it's not steel, but what we've got here is PA66, which is a really good, strong polymer, plastic, whatever you call it. Plus, it's got glass fibers inside it, so it's a very strong material, a lot like G10, but not quite as good as G10, but fairly similar. And then you just screw in these small, or not you, they did at the factory, they screwed in these smaller frames to hold the whole thing together with the liner locks. And I like the lanyard clip better as well. So there you go, it's got some good features. Another important thing about this knife to go over is the blade play and lockup. There's no blade play, it's nice and snug, up and down, side to side. Lockup is right around the middle. The lock arm comes right about to the middle of the tang of the blade, on both the blade and on the tool. What we have is a knife like this other one. It's got a chisel grind, a hollow chisel grind with a drop point and a swedge. This guy's actually got a slight recurve, a sharpener's choil in there, a micro bevel. So it's not a true chisel grind. It's got a micro bevel back there. And it's a sub 3-inch knife, no problem. 2.75 inches in length for the blade. The cutting edge is a bit shorter, and I'll give you the full details a little bit later. One of the features I really like about it, though, is it's got this special lock. And I talked about this lock just a week ago on the video that I did about the knife, also by Sanrenmu, that has the really good bottle opener on it. I'll put a picture of it in right here. Yeah, so you remember that knife. I just couldn't find it right now to show it in person and to show it live. It's got that same kind of lock on here. You have to push this button in just ever so slightly. And as you see, when I push the button in, the liner lock moves. It releases a detent lock system, and then you can open the blade on both sides. The tool side works the same way. There's other knives like this that I like a lot that have that lock system. And I talked about one, that one. I also talked about this guy. This is, I think October 2016 that this came out. And they're really low on stock on these. I think they still have the black one at GearBest. And I'll put the link for this video right here, right now, so you can see that. It's got that same lock on it, so you have to push in the lock. This one's a little bit harder to see. You push in the lock, and it removes that liner lock, and then you can open it. If you do not have this knife and you've not seen this knife before, check out the video on this thing. This is a really nice knife for the price. I like it an awful lot. It's called Life in Geometry. It's one of the few blades that has a name. We're talking about this guy today. So let's do the specs before we get on to the rest of it. 8CR14 MOV steel. That's a Rockwell hardness of about 57. They've got a mirror finish on it. And the tool side's got a mirror finish as well. The cutting edge is 6.1 centimeters, 2.4 inches. The blade length is 7 centimeters, 2 3/4 inches. The blade thickness, it's pretty light, 2.1 millimeters. That's 0.084 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, well, it's only got one bevel on one side. That makes it 0.37 millimeters. That's 0.0145 inches. The handle length is 10.5 centimeters, 4.1 inches. And the grip area, I'm calling it 9.5 centimeters and 3.75 inches. The handle thickness, and I measured it right back here, is 7.4 millimeters. That's 0.3 inches. The total length of this knife, and it's measured either with the blade open or this tool open, it's the same distance, is 16.8 centimeters, which is 6.6 inches. The weight is where I really, really like this guy. It's 57 grams, which is 2 ounces. This guy is 2.6 ounces at 75 grams. So you save a fair bit of weight, especially if you want to use this knife with all these multi-tools and everything as, a light carry. Maybe you're going camping, maybe you're going for a hike. It's always good to have a blade and maybe a couple little tools with you. It's always good. This is only 2 ounces, and so you've got a lot in one little package for one, low weight factor and a low price as well. It's $8.01 US at GearBest, and they charge you about $2.68 shipping if you only buy the one knife. The more things you buy, the lower your shipping per item goes. The lower your whole shipping goes, actually, usually. In Canadian, $10.13. And you have to add just over $3 shipping. So for 13 bucks Canadian, a total price, if this is the only thing you get, not bad at all. I can't even ship this thing from my house to your house in Canada for $13. So just the postage in Canada alone costs more than the whole knife does shipped to your house. And the way GearBest works, it will take several weeks for you to get it. That's just the way it is. Into US or Canada, anywhere else, anywhere in the world, actually. And that's part of the value you get for getting such a low price. Yeah, they're not going to give you expedited shipping, and it takes a while for it to ship. Let's talk about all the different features on this knife. We've talked about the blade. We've got a bottle opener here. We've got a hex nut driver to tighten or loosen. It's all in metric. 10, 8, 6, and 4 millimeters. Metric's even good for the Americans now, since a lot of vehicles are coming out with metric parts and stuff. We've got a gut hook, cordage ripper, whatever you want to call it, and that's pretty sharp right there. And then we've got a standard driver. Might want to call it a flat driver. And it's made thin just on one side, so it also works quite well as a bit of a pry tool. So don't use your blade, use this guy. So the last thing you've got is this hole here, and I don't know what that's for. Somebody knows what that's for. There's got to be a reason for it. It's got to do something that you can, put this over and then turn it. I just don't know what. It's not the right size for an oxygen bottle as far as I know. What have we got holding this thing together? We've got phosphor bronze washers to keep this thing sliding smoothly. I'll show you a picture of that right now. Built-in stop pin right there. And the stop pin works for both to stop it when you close it and to stop it when you open it. And you've got a built-in little edge protector here. It's a little hard to see with the light. Let's see if I can find a way to... There you go. You see this line right there? Whoop, right there, and it comes all the way across. On this side, you can see it a little bit better. You can see how it steps up a little thicker right there. That is to, protect the edge of the blade, so when your hand is rubbing on it when it's closed, you're not getting your finger in there to cut. You just can't get, in there to cut anything. So it's very safe when it's closed, even though the blade looks like it's all exposed. The clip here is quite strong, works really well, and it's a nice big opening, so you can put it on a lot of different things. Put it on your, your backpack, belt clip, your belt loop, I should say. So many different ways that you can carry this thing. And at 2 ounces, wow, not a problem at all to carry this thing. How sharp does this thing come from the factory? Well, it comes pretty sharp. We've got some paper, my notes right here. No problem cutting at all. I can do that sliding cut, and I can just do a push cut on one spot on the blade right here. No problem. It's sharp all the way along, and I haven't had to sharpen it at all yet. I've used it a fair bit. Actually, I carry this thing quite a lot because it is so light and easy to carry. And, even as a pocket dropper, you just drop it in your pocket. Since there's no pocket clip, it works that way as well. I'm really, really liking it. That weight is one of the biggest pros for the size. So you get lower weight, longer blade. So that's a big plus here. When the blade's deployed and you want to grab onto this handle's very comfortable for its size with those rounded edges. Feels really good in the hand, either with the blade or with the tools. It's, the same thing, very comfortable in hand, very easy to use. You don't get hot spots, even with, slightly extended use. Cuts cardboard really well, whatever you want. Well, let's do some other cut tests before I move on. Here's my 4 layers of paracord that I like to do a cut test with, and watch this. Cuts through that very easily. And let's try this slicing cut. Cuts through it, no problem. You just press down and cut. Cuts like that, no problem as well. We've got this 1-inch wide banding. There we go. Got it in hand. Got a nice clean new edge. And we just slice right through it very, very easily. It cuts so well that, like most Sanrenmu knives, they sharpen them very well. They put a good edge on them. 8CR14 is not a bad steel at all. It is a budget steel, but China has been making 8CR13 and 8CR14 now for so long, and they've done, they really know how to do a good job with it. They heat treat it well. It keeps an edge pretty good. It is definitely a budget steel. I'm not trying to say that this is a high-end steel, not by any stretch, but it's a good steel for a budget knife. Cordage ripper works pretty well. Just zip it right through. It's very sharp. And, the screwdriver works. Hopefully I can do this without getting in the screen here. Maybe if I do it sideways. So you can see it work this way. I'm going to try to screw that screw. First I'll try to screw it out. Get it in there. That's a pretty tight screw. But you can see it can be done. And take it back in. Here's one that's combination Phillips and flat. And it's a little bit trickier that way, but you can see even that can be done. It's not, the best for something like that. This is one of those last resort things. If you just have to, if you just need a tool like this and you just need to screw it in or unscrew it, you can do that. And of course, it'll work also, to pry things a little bit, not too terribly much because you're going to put all the force through that one pivot point. So grab it back here if you're going to be prying a little bit. And the nut driver. So there's a nut. This is one of those locking nuts, so it'll give me some resistance so I can demonstrate better instead of just a free-flying nut. So here we go. You just put it on and you can drive stuff on. And of course you can take it off as well. So there you go. These features, the bottle opener, I don't have a bottle handy with the cap on it for a pop, but I've done it before with this one. Works very well. The only con, and it's not really a con that I have for this knife, I would like it if they would have put in a regular hollow grind blade. Better yet, a flat grind blade, a saber grind or a full flat. I don't think it needs to be a chisel grind for it to be safe in here. They might just have to make a slightly larger edge here to offer protection for the blade. But I think they can, make it so that the blade is protected and have it come with a regular edge that, is sharp on two edges, two bevels. It's just a better cutting knife that way. This chisel grind does cut well, but, I'd like it to cut even better. And that's the only sort of con that I have with this knife. At GearBest, they've got 2 listings for this knife. My contact at GearBest is on vacation until Tuesday or something, so I've left a note for her, but she won't see it until then. So make sure that you find the lower price, $10.13 Canadian or $8.01 US for this knife. If you find it at GearBest for a higher price, search again, or better yet, use my links in the description at the bottom of the screen. You'll see a little bit of text underneath the picture here, and it'll say show more if you're on a PC or on a Mac or whatever, on a computer. Click on show more and you'll see my description. You'll see the links to buy this knife, and I'll have links for these other knives as well and for the reviews of them, just in case you're curious. And that way you're going to get the lower price, and hopefully GearBest will get that fixed in a hurry. So there you go. I like this knife. I recommend it. I think it works well. I really appreciate the safety edge, release for the blade. That's a big deal to me. It's a knife that I can accidentally leave laying around, not on purpose, of course. I think my grandson won't be able to open this knife. I just don't think he has the coordination yet to do that, But I'm not going to leave any knife laying around on purpose, that's for sure. But I just feel a little safer with a knife like this around children. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. Please leave a good comment about something. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Even if you don't like the knife, the thumbs up is for if you like the video, if it's a good video or not. And remember to always cut towards your chum and not your thumb.